do kind of between Westchester and Downingtown.
This meeting is being recorded.
I have 2 kids, and that's it.
Hey guys, me and Marcy. Nice to meet everybody. Last 2.5 years, I've lived in Baltimore City, Maryland. I was a police officer down there. Moved over to Philadelphia in my own area. Got really burnt out on jobs.
As you all know, I'm a big believer of tracking our businesses. So what is everybody, what's the matter? What- You rolled your eyes.
I know, right, shut down with some horrible traffic.
You rolled your eyes, okay. And that's what we need to have a serious, honest discussion about tracking and how it's going to benefit you, but also what we need on our side to run the brokerage in order to help you make more money. So I come from running a business, and if any of you have had your own business, Paul, you have, Stacy, you have, people track their numbers. People track everything so that they can gauge the health of their business and how they're going to improve it moving forward. What's the reservations that people have with tracking? Is it just, I can't get myself in the habit of doing it? Is it, I don't know if there's any value to it? I don't want to share my information. Can we have an open discussion about that? Anybody chime
When
in?
you say tracking, are you talking about CSU?
I'm talking about tracking how many showings you go on, how many you book, how many offers you write, how many listed appointments do you go on, how many listed appointments do you get signed, the basic fundamentals of what a realtor does every day. That's what I'm talking about. And is it more so of you need help with that? Like, what is it? Because some of us do a very good job at it, and some of us don't. And I'm trying to figure that out so that we can all help each other here. We need to bridge this gap, so to speak. You're very good at it.
I just make it, it's a habit every day. I put everything in.
Yeah.
And whether it be in the afternoon, if I remember something, or at night, it's just like, okay, how many showings did I have? And did I have a listing appointment that I did with a buyer? And I just plug it all in.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff from Boomtown reports over as far as conversations. But if I had side conversations, I'll add those in. If I know that somebody's called me and I haven't put it in Boomtown, I'll add that in to CSU. But to me, it's really, really important because I do look back at those numbers.
Because it's in history.
Yeah.
Who else? Go ahead, Sarah.
I don't know like my showing ratio, but I do track, and the reason why I do this, I like to know how many conversations I'm having, because if I get to like a certain amount, then I'm more likely to submit an offer. Whether that offer gets accepted, that's a different story, but like, that's kind of just the way that I look at it. It's like, I know if I get to a certain amount of conversations, it gets me more optimistic.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I track.
Yeah. And do you look at your past data and kind of see trends?
Yeah. So I've noticed that with conversations. I don't really know about showing ratio.
Okay.
That's a little different. I don't know how to like kind of
Yeah.
keep up with that.
Okay. Anybody else? Does anybody else input or have something that they do separately to track anything?
I'll say something. Yeah, I guess my issue, I mean, I've gotten better at it. I kind of do it like at the end of the day, review, and I guess I kind of do it then. I've gotten better at it. I guess with CISO, it was just more of like, you don't know what the hell any of the numbers mean. You're like, what is, like, I did 10 showings and, I wrote 2 offers, but like, what does that tell me?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like, I feel like it's not deep enough.
Yeah, I'm like, I agree with that 100%. That's why I made my own tracking sheet.
Yeah.
Like I converted all that into ratios because CSU didn't do that for us. Tom's been working very hard with CSU to try to get them to change that, but we all have to commit, leaving this meeting today, is we all have to commit to using CSU now. Tom did a great job of.
I'll show you why here.
Yeah.
All right. So here's what Brian and I did, and this was a lot of Brian's stuff. So we're going to actually, we changed CSU up a little bit. You're not going to lose any data, right? And what's going to happen here is this is the new home screen for CSU. So we've got things like conversations, right? Everyone knows what that is. We got number of dials, new client appointment. This was something that kind of screwed people up. Like the first time you meet with somebody, it's a new client appointment. New client appointment met. So it's set and met, offers written, listing appointment met, listings taken, buyer showing book, buyer showings that happen. So all this it's kind of the same stuff, but here's I think where we're going to see a difference is we're now going to calculate everyone's conversion ratios and see what the hell they mean. So Steve, I think this will speak to you. So this is like a sample here that we put together. You don't have to do anything with this. All you got to do is put your numbers in CSU. Like this is.
We're going to do this for you. And we're going to push it right back to you as probably I'm thinking a bi-weekly report.
Yeah.
And you're going to get this information back.
You want to go back?
To
All right.
the first screen. I just have a question about, okay, so it says new client appointment set, new client appointment met. Now, if it's a new client and it's a listing appointment, and you like,
It is a new
it's
client.
kind of redundant
Well, and then that's where you want to just put listing appointment met instead.
instead of new client appointment met.
Yeah. So we have a legend up here what all this stuff means.
Okay.
Because I think this is like.
That's where a lot of the confusion that I had. When I first came on here, everybody was like, it's an appointment. What does an appointment mean?
Does that mean a showing?
Right.
Does it mean a new buyer?
So here's what it means.
Because in my brain, it was like appointment. Like I'm showing a house. If more houses I show, the more chances I'm going to get to write an offer. Like I needed to know that number. So I think it isn't that anybody did anything wrong. I just don't think we really kind of tightened this all up to create a process that everybody understands how to use it and to make it simple. And that's what we're looking to do here. What we're asking for you guys is to get into your routine and put the numbers in the CSU because they are now going to give you information back. Now, some of you have my spreadsheet that you're using. You can continue to use that. This will get you the same information. You want to use both and you want real-time data, this is going to get pushed back to you every 2 weeks.
Yeah, we have a VA update now. So all you got to do is put your stuff in CSU. It's really easy.
She'll take the info, she'll create the conversions. We could not get CSU to
Yeah.
get us these ratios.
Yeah.
It drives me freaking crazy. Don't even get me started. So for me, I needed to know the ratio. Think about this. So the idea here with working with brokerage is that we're kind of your free business consultants to some degree, right? We're not successful unless you are all successful. So I can't help any of you if I don't know your ratios. And if we decide to create, most of us are in accountability groups.
Mm-hmm.
So you have an accountability group and you say, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z this week. That's great. Those are your activities. Your activities led to this, which led to sales. But if you don't know if the activities are working or not, or they're improving, you have no way of running your business, right? So if I know that you're getting a ton of listing appointments and not signing them, and your listing signed to appointment rate is 30%, we can fix that with the targeted training to get you to get those signed and raise that up. If you raise that ratio, your business goes up. If you're meeting with 20 clients, new clients a month, and that's it, and it's not going anywhere, there's training there that could help you. That's how you're interacting with the clients. It's, well, this is our other new agent right here. Can we give Leah a hand for getting her first sale? So all of this is really designed for us to be able to see what's going on in your business and help you improve upon it. I know for me, when I first started, I didn't really understand, like I was so caught up in the mucky muck of the day-to-day that I had a tough time sitting back as a business owner, looking at myself and critiquing myself to get myself better. You have an opportunity of a team of people that we can all see, we can all share people's ratios. Like there's a reason why some people's ratios are higher than others. And it's a very simple, it's all about sharing the information, and it has nothing to do with competition. Literally nothing to do with competition. Great companies out there share their ideas and their information. What makes the great companies different from the okay companies is how they implement that information. If you don't know how to implement it, you're no competition to anybody. And the idea here is for us to help you implement and get better to increase your ratios, which ultimately in the end makes you more money. Does that make sense?
So our goal is to make this as easy as possible, because I think if you don't know what the numbers mean, you're not going to track it,
Right.
right? So this will give us like, hey, how many people do you need to talk to set an appointment? How many showings do you need to go on to write an offer? How many showings are you booking that are happening? Like if your number's 10% there, we got a problem, right? Like we'll be able to identify that. What's your offer acceptance rate? Right now it's like 41% for the company. So it's like if yours is 10, then we got to figure out what's going on. Your listing sign rate, and I just put in some numbers here. If you're above 50%, you're doing great. 70 is like all-star. So like I have all the benchmarks. And the last one is appointments to sales. If you got to meet 20 people to do a deal, your appointment's messed up, right? Like, and that's going to help us, but we want to figure this out. And we're just guessing if we're not looking at this information. So it's all to help people here to do one thing, which is our core competency, and that's selling houses, right? So Brian's been awesome with this. We'll start working with CSU, but we said, fuck it, we're coming up with our own solution. Let's implement so we can go sell houses, right? Everyone kind of get that? So he wanted to lead with this, but you got more. So
I do.
And we'll walk everyone through this, but the first thing we'll do is we're going to play this the first 4 minutes.
3 minutes and 51 seconds.
All right.
Can I get 3 minutes and 51 seconds?
All right.
Without the recording?
In the military, they give medals to people who are willing to sacrifice themselves so that others may gain. In business, we are willing to give bonuses to people who will sacrifice others so that we may gain. We have it backwards. And then we complain about how we don't love our jobs, and we complain about how the work is suffering, and we complain about how budgets are being cut, and we complain. And the first thing we do is blame each other and become more selfish and worry about my pay and my benefits and my this. And this is what happens. When we are unfulfilled, we look at the metrics and we say they're not good enough. When we are fulfilled, we don't care about the metrics. This is why when you have a job you love and you get a call that says, I'll offer you tons more money and great benefits, you're like, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. I'm very happy here, but we'll give you more. That's not the reason I'm here. I'm here because I love it. I'm here because I care for the people I work with, and I'm here because the people I work with care for me. This is the world I imagine. This is the world I imagine. And here's the great thing. If you take little risks, I'm not talking about big things, little things. If you start doing little things for each other, the amazing anthropological response is other people will start doing little things for others too. I was walking down the street 2 days ago, and a guy's backpack was open and a whole bunch of paper fell out as he was walking down the street. And I happened to be behind him, and so my friend and I just we were in mid-conversation, and in mid-conversation, we never even stopped talking. We just bent down, sort of helped him gather his papers, hand them back to him, sort of pointed out that his book bag was his backpack was unzipped, and he said thanks, and we walked out. It was like no big deal, right? We get to the end of the street, we stand we're waiting to cross the street. We're still talking, we haven't stopped talking. And the guy in front of us turns to us and says, I saw you help that guy. That was really cool. But here's what's great about that. The guy will go do something for someone else simply because he saw us bend down and pick up paper for someone else. He will actually go do something for someone else because of it, right? He won't give to charity because he sees me put $1 in a cup. But he will actually help someone because he saw someone also help someone. Little things. Hold the door open for someone. Say thank you to the person who holds the door open for you. Smile to the barista. Little things. Put your foot in the subway when the door is closing so someone who's running will make it. Hit the open at the elevator. Don't go. Do it. A little time and a little energy. And you'll find around work that people give a little time and a little energy back to you. And you'll give a little more time and a little more energy. You go for a coffee with someone. Then you go for a 2-hour coffee. Then you go for a coffee and a lunch. Then you go for a lunch and a dinner. Then you go for a dinner and a movie. And then you sleep over. And then you sleep over 2 nights. And then you go on holiday together. And eventually you get married, right? It's slow. It takes time. And we can't rush it. If when we rush it, it's all fake. Do things for others and watch how much others do for you. Go get yourself a cup of coffee from the coffee machine in the morning. Make one for someone else. It takes a little extra time. It takes a little extra energy. That's the point. That's the point. And here's the part. You will feel so good at the end of the day. So good.
Back to you, Brian.
So what does that say to you? How do you relate that to what we do every day? Especially the young part. Resonated with me. Anybody hear what I heard when I listened to that? It's the little things, right? So what we're going to carry this meeting into is talking about building client relationships. It's the little things, right? It isn't just a quick phone call. Hey, do you want to go out and take a look at a house this weekend? How about we spend some time to know the person on the other side of the line, of what their wants are, what their needs are. Lindsay, you do a great job with that. You ask them about their kids. You connect with them what restaurants they like. You go the extra mile to learn about it. Paul, I got to commend you yesterday on the role play call. Was everybody on the role play call yesterday? Right? If you can get on the role play call, get on the role play call. I asked Tom to see if we could record those because I wish I had the recording. You went through that. You got an appointment because you cared about what Stacy was saying. Like it spoke, you could feel it. You were not a salesman. You were empathetic to your client when you're on the phone and you got an appointment. You have to understand that when we're on these calls, we get frustrated because people don't call you back or they don't want to go look at a house. Every time you get to the phone call, it's another opportunity to build a relationship with them. Not every call is going to lead to an appointment, but every call should be another foundation of the relationship that you're going to have with that client eventually when they do go on the appointment. And that's kind of what I heard in that message. Is it's slow. Like it takes a little bit of time to get there, but you have to put the effort in. And we're going to kind of walk through a cadence to help. I think sometimes we set our goals up for, I want to have 60 conversations this week. Yeah, what kind of conversations? Like who are you going to call? What are you going to say if they pick up the phone? What if they don't pick up the phone? What are you going to say on the voicemail? It's all about bringing value and having that constant connection. It's pretty easy to see the people that do a lot of sales are the ones that get that. You get it. Like I can tell when you talk to people, you get it. Lindsay, you get it. Like Zara, you get it. People get it. Like that is, like when you tell people what you do for a living, like what is your why? Are you in here just to sell houses, or do you actually care about the people in their lives of making this transaction? Like I'm thinking about selling my house. It's a kind of nerve-wracking, like, I gotta prep the house. I gotta sell. It's all the things we talked about. It's the stressors that everybody that we call, even if they're a first-time home buyer, they don't know what to do. And they put up this guard in front of us, and they kind of deflect everything that we try to say to them, and we're not hearing them. We're not recognizing that we've got to build a relationship. So I'm going to pass it off to you, and we're going to kind of walk through giving you some type of a set game plan for when you make your calls. Like, so how many people are going to make calls today? Does anybody want to share what you do before that, before you make the calls? Is there a plan that you have? Like, do you actually have a specific voicemail message that you're going to use for those? Jamie, you're shaking your head yes?
Well, today I did circle dialing around the people's things, so I recorded the voicemail saying, you know, we just had a house sale at 123 Manor Street. It went for way over asking, it went for one day. There were only one buyer got it, there are others that were being.
Yeah. So it was very specific. It was,
Intentional.
It was planned. Like, that was your targeted audience. That's what you did. And then hopefully there was a backup email or a backup text message, and it was a full circle, right? So every day we make calls, if we're gonna have conversations that are meaningful, that are going to, might not lead to an appointment, but it's gonna lead to a relationship, which is really what we're in this to do. It's a company I used to work for. Their purpose, their mission was to be the largest collision repair provider in the country. Their purpose was to restore the rhythm of people's lives. You get in a car accident, you don't have your freaking car, you got to drive a Ford Fiesta for 3 weeks because you drive a Porsche, because that's all your insurance company will pay for. You're pissed off, your back is still sore from the accident. It's a pain in the ass experience. Their purpose was to restore you back to the rhythm of your life. You get into your nice little Porsche, you tuck yourself in, and you go get your coffee, and you don't have the shitty Ford Fiesta that you got to drive. That was their mind. That was their why. They just happened to fix cars. That just happens over here. Their why for the client was to restore the rhythm of their lives. And that was literally preached into the company from the top senior VPs all the way down to the detailers. They knew the why and the purpose, and we all have to have our why. And that why is what is going to motivate you when you pick up the phone. I think a lot of times we pick up the phone because I haven't done a deal in a while, and I got to get them out to look at the house because I want another paycheck coming. Totally get that. But that comes through on the conversations. Paul, you cared about the client. Like, that came through on that, and that client is going to now trust you in the way you handle that. And it was like, I wish we had it recorded because it was freaking phenomenal. So I'm going to stop talking about that, but I would seriously encourage you to figure out your why and make that why the mindset every time you get on the call, to just don't worry too much about getting that appointment, but how about building the relationship? Because eventually the appointment's going to come. It's kind of it's the result of everything that you've done. So go ahead.
All right, so Brian has a great point here, though, because our mission is to be the easiest place to buy and sell real estate. So think about how stressful this is for people, right? Moving sucks. So the intention of this is, I heard a lot of people like, I get overwhelmed when I see the CRM. Who kind of feels that way? They don't know who to call, right? This is like a common thing. So we're going to break this down to like actionable steps, and we actually have a checklist we're going to give everyone at the end that's like, here's how to prep for the day. Because if we're having those meaningful conversations, you're going to sell houses, right? Length of conversation equates to appointment setting. Anyone like, you notice the longer you talk to people, the better the call goes. So that's a real thing. So the first thing was like, who are you going to call? I think that's a great question. So if you don't have a plan going in, like Jamie, you had a plan today, right? So you had all your steps broken out. If you don't have a plan and you open up the CRM and it's 9 o'clock and you're like, oh shit, who am I going to call? It's not going to go well. So we want to think about who you're going to call. And there's different buckets in there, right? It could be circle dials like Jamie's talking about. It could be your hot leads. Anyone ready to transact in the next 90 days? I'd be calling those people pretty frequently. It could be nurtures that now, like, the Super Bowl's over, right? Well, they said they were 3 to 6 months out in December. Now it's like a month and a half. So maybe I need to get in touch with them. Maybe it's your watches. I'd be bucketing these on different days, right? And not just bucket them, but then have separate call sheets for them, like listing everybody you got to call and bouncing from this person's 12 months out to this person's 30 days out. It's not going to really, like, you're going to be kind of all over the place with the calls. Do you follow what I'm saying? Like, so Jamie, you're calling like just circle dialing. Does that give you like a real focus of what your plan is? So you want to have a plan of who you're going to call first. So once you determine what that is, then I make the call sheets like your initials, the type of call, and the date, right? So, and then you can come back to this. A lot of people don't, you think you got to get it done this day. You can come back 2 days later and call this call sheet. So the point is that if you have a plan of who you're going to call and you're going to follow through on it, it's like you got 100 watches, you only got through 50, you don't just stop, you pick it up the next day. And that's a really important factor here. So does this make sense so far to everybody? Like identify the bucket and then come up with a plan. And I'd be doing this before you get into, this is like a day before activity, right? Or if you get up early in the morning, it's like an early morning activity. You don't want to come in getting ready to work for an hour, because once the time blocks change, you're going to get less people on the phone. So I would just have a plan to start with. And we're going to walk you through how to do the plan here. But we're going to take this, like, this is going to be really in depth. Brian and I spent a lot of time on this. So once you have the plan, and again, it's call sheets, I'd name them and I'd bucket these people. Even if you only got 10 nurtures, call all of them at once, because you're going to be in that nurture mindset. Flipping back and forth gets a little tough sometimes. And so this is going to make it easier for you. And once you have the plan in place, then I'm telling everyone here, if you're telling me you like manually dialing, you're wasting time. It's just a fact, right? I mean, I know it's Mojo can be scary. Go ahead. All right, I guess someone's on the phone or something. All right, so like, you guys mute out if I think there's a little feedback here. All right, so it looks like that's going. So Mojo can be a little overwhelming. Who feels like they don't have enough time to operate their business right now besides me? All right, so everyone else has got it. You're good, right? So this is going to save you time, and that's the point, because and then you can leave tactical voicemailers. So there's a couple steps here we broke out. I'm going to walk you through step by step. So I'm not going to go through this list right now. I'm going to show you what it looks like in the dialer, like, because I think this is where people get lost, how to do it. So the first thing is you want to check your caller ID. I know a lot of you guys don't do that because I get text messages on my phone, hey, you just called me. So that means you're not checking the caller ID, so it's not coming from you. I'd be setting that as your Boomtown number. So everyone know where to do that? Put it right up here, right at the top. Oh, I got to change the slide here. So right at the top here, you want to go to adjusting what your number is. I'd make it your Boomtown phone number, because who here texts people, hey, I can't talk right now? Did anyone do that besides me? Right? If they text your cell phone and you have 50 people you're going to call, Zach, are you going to remember every single person's phone number and know who it is? Never going to happen, right? You have to be like Rain Man to do that. So if you guys don't know what Rain Man is, he's good with numbers. Little Dave. But the point is, I'd be checking that first. I'd make it your Boomtown number, because then they're going to text you back. You get an alert on your app, and it says, oh, Anthony Capodanno just texted me and said, hey, I can't talk. Are you free later? I'm going to engage with him on text right now and see if I can schedule a call with him to talk about his real estate needs, right? That's going to give you so much more power in what's going on. So that's a really key step, and one that gets overlooked in a lot of cases. So I'd set the caller ID first. Then step 2 is choose where to start the list. So on the next slide, let me change these here. I'm going both ways. Actually, I'm going to show you the voicemail first. So Jamie, you're recording a voicemail for people, right? I'm going to play you voicemails to leave. These are test I've spent like an hour and a half last night shooting videos and recording voicemails so you guys can copy them all. So we don't have to think about what to say. You can just do it. We're going to play some here. If you're using a single line dialer, so let's say I was circle dialing in my neighborhood. I have a Penn Valley voicemail, and it's, Jamie, what did your voicemail say that you left? You said it was like, we sold this home. Can you explain that again?
We sold this home in one day, way over asking, multiple offers, only one person won. There's a lot of other buyers looking to get in your neighborhood.
So that's compelling, right? That's going to elicit a response. You know what you didn't say? I'm checking in to see if you're ready, right? That's lazy follow-up. And I think that's where some people get lost. I know I've done it. So you want to record a voicemail that's going to be specific. So in this case, I was doing that circle dialing. It was, hey, this home just sold in your neighborhood. It sold in 2 weeks. More people were interested. Who do you know that's thinking about selling? Give me a call because I got another buyer. You also want, if you're using the triple line dialer, and you don't have to do that. I'm going to show you the differences here. you want to record a callback message. The callback message should say something like, hello, I'm going to call you right back. I think we got a bad connection. Make sure you're selecting those, because if you drop that, you're saving yourself 45 seconds on every call. Like if you're trying to circle dial around an open house, like, Zara, I know you did this. You had some really good conversations. You're leaving that voicemail every time. You're limited to how many people you can contact. And we're looking for actual conversations. So this is going to help you bring up your numbers here. And because the voicemail may get someone to call back. They may get someone to show up at the open house and you can meet them in person, right? So the more compelling it is, the better. So that's where you check your voicemails. And we're taking this step by step because there's a lot of buttons and things on here. It gets a little confusing. So then once you determine your caller ID and your voicemail, then what you want to do is select the number of lines you're going to be using. So there's two ways to do this. If you're worried about calling 3 people at once, start with the single line dialer, right? You got 20 hot people. I put all them in there anyway, because it's still faster calling 20 hot people with this than it will be otherwise. There's 2 buttons at the bottom. There's start click to call and start power dialer. Does anyone know or not know the difference here? So some people don't know. Good. Power dialer just keeps going through, and you got to manage that. Click to call gives you time to prep and look up properties for people. Who likes doing that before they call somebody? A lot of people, right? So with your active folks, use click to call. It's actually designed for that, so you can see the person's name come up. It'll say Stacy Mitchell's looking for a home in Downingtown that's 4 beds, 2.5 baths. I'm going to look up 3 properties I could show her, and you have time to do that. Then you hit the click button and it calls her, right? So there's a big, if you're afraid of like, it's going too fast, I need to make sure I'm having an intelligent call. This is gonna overcome that. So click to call will do that. They also call it nurture dialing, which is kind of the same thing. You can only do that with a single line, right? So you can't do 3 lines and click to call. So if you guys are getting overwhelmed by the triple line dialer, don't use it and use this feature. That'll just save you time with even the voicemails that are dropping. And again, I'm going to play some voicemails here. If you want to use triple line, I think that's more beneficial for circle dialing like Jamie's doing, or you got like a list of unresponsive people. Then I would go to 3 lines here on this dialer where you drop it down, and you'll want to use the power dialer. Any questions so far? And we're recording this. This is meant to be like really step by step here, because I don't think we've done a good job explaining this. Good? All right. The lists, right? What's the average amount of call, Jamie, how many people do you put in your call list? I know you're doing a lot of this. Use the dialer more than anybody.
For the circle down was 103.
Okay, so did you get done all 103 today?
No.
So perfect answer, right? You don't get done 103, you want to still call them. You choose on the list. Do you want to call it from the top to bottom, or do you want to call it from where you last left off? So you can go back and call the rest of the 103 people later. You don't have to keep creating lists every day. You create one, work through it, move to the next one. It's going to help your workflow here a lot. And I think a lot of people get confused by that too. This will keep track of all those things. So this is all just the setup before you even call. And if we don't know the software, we're just going to be like, I don't want to do it, right? I mean, I know people felt that way. It's totally cool. And that's on me and the team for not explaining this well. So any questions about this right now? Anybody on Zoom got questions about this? I know and again, this is recorded. It's going to be something we can go back to and reference. Good? All right. Last thing.
Yes, I have a question.
Get someone on the phone. Oh, lay it on.
Sorry. Is there any way, any technology will ever be implemented that will allow for quick dialing on your cell and having a boomtown number here on their caller ID?
That's exactly what this does. The dialer will do this because if you select your caller ID, so let me go back here. This is a great question. See where it says select caller ID at the top? Can you see that on Zoom?
Yes.
Yeah, so you have to set that up. The way to set it up is with the plus sign. You hit plus. You type in your boomtown number, and then where does the boomtown number get routed to? Your cell phone, right? So it'll call your cell phone, and then you can verify it.
Right. I guess I was asking more along the lines of when I don't have desktop access.
That does not exist right now. I wish it did. I I have seen some people use the Mojo dialer through like Safari on their cell phone. I've never had success with that. It seems a little complicated. Now, the hack I've had for my Boomtown numbers, I put like cell 1 and cell 2 or like texting number in the signature, and then people know like what it's coming from. Great question. I wish there was an answer for that one. Any other questions about this? So the last thing here, I bet you guys can see this, is when you get someone on the phone, pause the freaking dialer and talk to them. You guys understand? Like, the goal is to have a real, like what Brian said, this is where I think you got to lose the technology part and like actually have a real conversation, right? So I would pause this right here, just pause it. You can hang up and it'll keep the Boomtown window up in the right-hand side, so you can still put notes in there. But pause it when you talk to people, because the goal is to have a conversation that's meaningful so we can move them into an appointment and then move them into a sale. Instead of just running through, we don't get paid for how many dials we do. Everyone follow me on this? So I think that's kind of that's one of the best like things I've heard at the conferences I've gone to, is just pause the dial. So this is like really in depth intentionally, because I think a lot of people get lost in the dialer here. So does this help? Like, does this help anybody here? Do you kind of see this, how to work this a little better?
Yes, I have a question though, because I have not been able to get my Boomtown to pop up. Like when I put all the information in, it'll just reload it and then ask me for my information again.
So the login isn't working?
Yeah, so that might be a tech question, but I don't know.
I can sit with you and make sure the integration's right,
Okay.
and then we can just check it. I don't know the answer, but it's probably either, I mean, your password should work unless like, unless maybe you saved like an old password in your computer.
I've tried. I don't know.
We'll get with this afterwards, because I'm happy to, if the tech's not working, like literally with James and Kevin and Ian and everyone else, like we literally sat for an hour and just set up the tech. So I'd rather sit with you and make sure it's good. And I'm happy to do this. We can even do that today. So I'm totally cool with that. And if anyone else feels that way, like come see me and we'll do this. Like it wasn't the most fun thing, but it's working. And then once it, like technology is great once it works. When it doesn't, like Lindsay, do you get frustrated when it doesn't work all the time? Does that make you frustrated when it doesn't work?
Yeah, and then I take notes the whole time.
So
I write my notes into Boomtown. So.
Anyone needs tech help, like I'm not the techiest guy. I know how to work this stuff. So like, let's sit down and just figure it out. And I'm happy to do that. So I think there was a gap there before. We're fixing it now. That's how we're going through this. Great stuff.
Yeah, sometimes you say drop message or sometimes.
All right. So there's questions about the voicemails.
No, I was saying, so you just record a voicemail and if they don't pick up, you use it.
You hit the red buttons on the side. That's where I'm going next.
Sometimes I notice it does, right? Or sometimes it'll ask me to drop.
You got to hit the drop button.
Yeah.
So on these red buttons will highlight here. So this is what moves the dialer forward, are these red buttons. Now they're not red right now, because I had to actually like dial, and I was doing this at like 9 o'clock last night to get all the screenshots, so that wouldn't even have let me. You got to hit drop message. Now there's two ways this works. One, you can hit the plus button and select. Don't do that. It's going to take you too long. You want to have the voicemail you're dropping right here. So whatever that is, like Jamie said, it was whatever it was. I'm going to show you guys some voicemails that are going to actually be more engaging than, hey, I'm following up. And we're going to listen to them here. Here's what I wouldn't do. I would never hit DNC contact or DNC number, because it's going to opt them out automatically. If they say don't call me back, call them again. Yes.
I do that though if it's like a company I accidentally call, like if you're circle dialing, it's like a business. I usually just say.
So if you're circle dialing, I think it's a little different. But if you hit that in Boomtown, it's gonna opt them out of everything. So I wouldn't hit this DNC number. I wouldn't hit bad number either. Right? It's either contact, no contact, or drop. Like I would just stop at those three. And this is like I know it's in the weeds, but there's like issues here. That's how we're going through it.
Unless it's like a fax or something, then you have that number.
I've seen people still turn fax machines on when they have a landline.
Really?
I mean, think about an ideal seller. Sometimes these people have fax machines. My parents had a fax machine in their freaking house. They moved 2 years ago. They're not that old.
I do have a question that I was always confused with. Do you have to wait, okay, it goes to voicemail, hi, is Joe?
Once the voicemail picks up, just hit drop.
Hit drop.
Yeah.
Perfect. You don't have to wait for that first.
It'll wait till it stops to record. And I mean, the thing's not perfect, but this is just, the whole goal of this is to help you have more meaningful conversations with people like Brian had talked about. So I know we went from like motivational, inspirational, and how we're helping people to like super tactical, but this is the how behind the why. So that's why we're tying these two together.
Because remember, I talked about, it's all about implementation, right? People that are good at implementing the stuff typically win. All of the implementation.
Any other questions about the dialer? And if you got more and you don't feel comfortable asking them now, schedule some time with me. Like Lindsay, we're going to definitely set this up today because I think it would, even the click to call would just save you a lot of freaking time. You know what I mean? Cool. All right. So now we're going to talk about what to set. So we got all the setup done. So we're going to do a little exercise here. So a lot of you guys are on that Phil Jones training with Tom, right? The OFQ training. So if you don't know what an OFQ is, it's an opening followed by a fact, followed by a question. So I put a couple samples up here. And this is really the best way to engage people because I think a lot of folks, like we get on these calls and you talk to them, I don't know, 10, 15 times and they're still not like ready to go do something. Anyone having that challenge with a client right now? Everybody? So what the hell do I say, right? I've already used the script. I've already given them the LP mama. So this is where we've got it's the same formula. It's just it's something valuable. So the opening is going to be the same every time. Hey, it's Tom with Remax following up as promised, right? Literally, if you guys have stood next to me making calls, Paul, how many times have you heard me say that?
Thousands.
Yeah, I mean, it's like literally the same freaking thing. The facts are going to change, right? So we've seen inventory come up a bit since last year. That's a fact. Still not high, but it's higher than it was. I have 2 different homes that look to be a fit for you that you might want to take a look at. It's a fact, doesn't mean they might like them. The good news is that buyer demand is still strong and inventory is less than 2 months right now for sellers, right? Still facts about the market. Or rates have come down since the 4th quarter. These are all facts we could tell any consumer right now that would apply to them. This is more seller friendly, but I want to give some examples. So then what question do you ask them to engage? So, hey, so the good news is that, rates have come down since the 4th quarter. So just out of curiosity, were you still looking to buy a bigger home? Right? It's literally just asking that same question. So you're following up, you're giving them the fact, you're asking the question. For the second one here, that kind of goes along with it. I've got 2 different homes that look to be a fit. When would be a good time to schedule a tour? Pretty easy. You could use any of these here. So I'm giving you some examples, but we're going to do a little exercise here. I want everyone to think of their 5 hottest clients right now that they're having difficulty getting in front of to show houses or list their home. Anyone come to mind here? Right? So we're going to sit down. I want everyone to come up with like 2 to 3 OFQs. So when you call them, you have something valuable to say. We're going to take like a 2-3 minute break. What time is it now? It's 12:30. So we'll come back and then we're just going to share a couple. I want you guys to start thinking about this because we can give you as many scripts as you want. Sometimes it's going to be specific to the client. So we're going to do a quick like exercise here. Here's some of the things you can implement when you're talking to them. And this all comes from Phil Jones. Like, I bet you're a lot like me. I'm not sure if this home's for you. Just out of curiosity, were you still looking to move to Florida? Most people want to understand the market before they list their home. Most people want to wait till the spring. Totally get that. There's some reasons why not to. All these things, this stuff, and that's why I want everyone to bring the book. Look, that thing should be like a manual for you. Like looking at that all the time because it's like NLP only better because we don't need to figure out the science, just stuff you can say literally to anybody right now. I got a PDF I'll share with you guys that has all this stuff. I'll do it right now. But let's take like 2 or 3 minutes. Let's like write some down and then we'll just share real quickly because I guarantee you this is stuff we can all implement in their business. And same thing on Zoom and we'll do this. We'll come back at like 12:35 and the rest of this is going to move a little faster. And I'll put the, again, here's the formula for everybody. Got a PDF. I just want everyone to do what I want. Yeah, so it's not like you're trying to get these people out, and maybe you know they're motivated, but they're not doing it. So like, hey, just out of curiosity, what are you waiting for here? You know what I mean? Anything like that. You know, Zara, you need a pen and paper? You must be the kid that got in trouble in class for talking all the time. Hey, Kevin, they took care of your account, they emailed you.
Yeah, I saw it, thank you.
It was way easier than us trying to figure it out. If anyone's got a good one here, just shout it out. Like this is meant to be we want to share a little bit here because I think after you talk to these people so many times, and think about what Brian said, how are you building a relationship with them instead of just seeing if they're ready to buy a house yet? Like that's kind of the idea. What's the longest anyone's worked with a client here before while we're doing this?
3 years.
3 years, right? So I'm curious to see what Sarah Timon has to say.
She's like, I've said everything to you. I can book it out.
I mean, at that point, I don't know. It might be.
Would it be crazy if I
Didn't you just close them on that house? Yeah, so she just sold them a house, by the way. So
They did go like MIA for different periods. It wasn't like I was consistently like.
well, but that's usually what happens though. That's pretty normal. I wonder, like, are they really going to buy something now? Is it worth my time? Like, it's already been.
Right.
I've got one I'm going on 3 years with her. And
So this will be good.
Specific on what she wants.
And that's real, right? There's some people that are only looking for homes on certain streets in certain neighborhoods, and they're not going to move otherwise.
I've got one guy I've worked with for 7.5 years, but I sold them 12 or 13 homes.
That's not the same thing we're talking about here. All right,
Yeah. We just went under contract last week.
Hey, put that apartment building, right?
8 units.
Hey, Tom,
Yeah.
are we making our own, or are we like using the office?
These are just examples. The whole thing about this is a great question, right? So what Phil said at the training, and this one, you know, someone's committed to their craft. He literally sits around in his free time and thinks of OFQs. So now this is going to change, right? Like, what if rates just went down 0.5 point? Well, that's it. You're going to just throw everything else out the window and have that conversation. That's going to motivate buyers and sellers. So the idea is when you have the theory in your head, but like this is implementation, right? This is exactly what Brian's taught. These are examples that are relevant today, February 15th, may not be relevant in 30 days. So it's and we're going to talk about how to like get updated with that market information too.
But the formula's the same.
Formula's always the same.
The fact it's a question. If you look at any of the scripts that we have provided you, just look at it.
I'm going to show you. We're going to show one here in a
There's
second.
an opening, there's a fact, and there's a question.
Let's get an eraser.
It's in every script.
Brian, you want to facilitate people sharing real quick? I just got to get an eraser for this.
Who's ready? Who's got something? You got something, Paul?
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead.
This is a listing I went in Philly and kind of ghosted me from maybe November on. They were getting married in November, so I just kind of pushed it off to the new year. So, hey, this is Paul with Remax Main Line, just following up as promised. Brian, I just wanted to share some good news with you. The buyer demand is still strong in your market, and inventory is about 3.5 months supply, where we should be at full 6 months. So about 50%. Are you still considering taking advantage of the current market conditions and getting into a larger home as planned to be closer to work?
So you're tying in what you actually know about the client.
Right.
Like you're
They were
into what they want.
right. They needed to get into a bigger place, and the pain point was the commute.
Anybody else got one you want to share? Andreas is like deep in thought, he's talking. So.
No, well, I'm trying to do what he's doing, just implementing what
Yeah.
we're doing.
Anybody on Zoom got one? Who on Zoom's got no FQ they want to share?
I got one.
All right, lay it on.
Hey Chuck, it's Joe Mealy. Following up like I said I would. Just want to let you know we haven't quite gotten the spring market yet, so there's a chance we can get out there and make some offers without the competition that we saw last spring. This particular guy verified as a competition, didn't want to bid, capitalize on this. Right now, in a couple of weeks before it gets really crazy. I know there's already multiple offers, but you know, you can definitely find some houses that have been lingering, and we can definitely probably be a solo offer. We get out in the next 7 to 10 days. So that's what I'm going to try to do. We'll call him later today.
So the fact is awesome. What's the question?
Oh, I forgot that part.
This is why we're practicing. This is good.
You know, have you considered taking advantage of the current market conditions and getting out there in the next weekend or two?
Great, right? I mean, for someone like that, do you think that's probably gonna get his, like, pique their interest, right? Like, they're gonna start thinking about, hey, maybe there's an opportunity or a window for me. That's really good. So the point is you gotta ask the questions. That's all we're practicing. That's a good one, Joe. I know it's got a couple of OFQs. We're not gonna do a lot of these, but I want everyone to start thinking along these lines. Stace, what do you got?
Hey, it's Stacy from Remax Mainline, following up as promised. I don't know if you've noticed, but interest rates have come down since the fourth quarter. So I'm curious, are you still interested in getting into a home this year so you can stop paying rent?
Really good, right? Hits on the pain point. Like, there's a lot of good things there. So you guys see what we're doing here with these? Like, is this helpful? Like, what to say? All right, so we're not gonna go through a ton of them. We're gonna keep talking about this though, because I think it's one of those things we gotta keep doing. So we're getting what to say now. I want to show you something here, and this might be a little eye-opening. You've all seen this script, right? It's the lead conversion script.
Yes.
Here's a surprise. It's an OFQ. Literally, hi, this is blank with blank. I'm calling you back like I said I would. How's it going? When we last spoke, your plans were to move to blank and blank because of whatever the motivation is. Is that still the plan? Right? Literally just like asking them if they're still planning on doing that. Every script we have asks this. Now, what I'm clear on is, now once you talk to people 10, 15 times and there's some bigger challenges in the market than we're used to, like inventory, like that's a big issue. Pivoting to this stuff is a little more value-based, but this script is the same thing. So all you're doing is you're trading out the question and the market fact. All the rest of the stuff's the same. And see how they, like, the reason for my call is, like, this script is the same thing, but we're giving them a little more meat on the bone here. So literally the same stuff. But when you think about it this way, I think the scripts come easier because we don't want to feel scripted, right? I know people don't want to feel scripted. And then we hear you talk and it's actually the script, which is awesome. It means it's working. But this is going to help you think on your feet more and just be able to have these conversations more naturally. It's going to be said in the way that Brian would say it, or Ron, or whoever. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. So we kind of got like what to say down, right? So you talk to them, obviously we go through the script. What happens if you don't talk to them? So I recorded 5 different voicemails here. We're gonna play them for you guys. And they're not just, hey, I'm following up like I said I would. It has to do with inventory, rates coming down, and spring market future pacing for buyers and sellers. This is all gonna be available, but you could literally just change these voicemails and drop them with your calls. So we're just gonna play these one by one here. And guys on Zoom, if you can't hear them, just shoot me a message real quick. I think they should work though. I tested this a lot.
Hi, it's Tom Toole here with Remax Mainline, following up with you as promised. There's a lot of noise out there regarding the real estate market right now, and I know we have been in touch in the past and simply wanted to give you a call to tell you what actually is going on and how that can affect your real estate needs. So if you're still thinking about making a move or have any questions about the current marketplace, give me a call back. We can talk. I'll get you all the facts. Cell number is 484-297-9703.
Right? Nothing crazy there, but it's different than, hey, I'm following up with you. I'm from Remax, right? And I would have more than one you're dropping because you're probably going to call these people more than once. So here's an inventory data one.
Hi, it's Tom Toole here with Remax Mainline, staying in touch with you as promised. If you've been following the market, you know that inventory is a real pain point for buyers and for sellers. And we've seen inventory rise since last spring in 2022. And that's affected a lot of people in a lot of different ways. And I wanted to share exactly what that means for your situation. So if you get a chance, give me a call back. I'm at 484-297-9703. Thanks so much.
Anyone notice the keys with this? It's vague and specific at the same time. Like it tells them a fact, but like you could leave that for anybody. And then but it's not, hey, I'm following up. It's a little more detailed. There's another one.
Hi, it's Tom Toole here with Remax Mainline, giving you a call back as promised. I don't know if you've been following mortgage rates, and we've seen them come down since the fourth quarter of last year. That's increased buyer affordability, and it's affecting a lot of different segments within the marketplace. I'd love to break down some actual numbers and show you how that would affect your situation. So when you get a chance, give me a buzz back. I'm at 484-297-9703.
Right, same idea. These are more specific, and these are all like 30 seconds, but I want to go through them.
Hi, it's Tom Toole here with Remax Mainline, and I wanted to reach out, as promised, to let you know that we're seeing the most savvy home buyers jump into the market now rather than wait until the spring when we see more buyers enter the market, meaning there's more competition for the homes that are available. We've got some strategies that have worked for other clients to get them into properties and would love to show them how that can work for you. So when you get a chance, give me a call back. We can discuss 484-297-9703.
Right, so prompting action, like, hey, we've gotten some people some homes, and then the last one's for sellers.
Hi, it's Tom Toole here with Remax Mainline, staying in touch and giving you a call back as promised. We've seen that the most savvy home sellers have been getting their homes on the market a little earlier this year to take advantage of low inventory levels and increased buyer demand. And that's helped some of our sellers sell their homes for well above the asking price with really favorable terms. And we'd love to go over that same strategy with you to see if that's going to be a fit for your needs and whatever's happening with your goals in regards to real estate. So when you get a chance, give me a call back. I'm at 484-297-9703.
All right, so is that different than the voicemails everyone's leaving right now?
Yes.
Right, so this is going to be available. We got this recorded. If you're worried about what to say, just freaking copy these. Any questions about this stuff?
You know, for me, it was like, I struggled with that piece of it. Like, I struggled with the planning ahead to do what I wanted to do. Like, I know what I wanted to do, and I would come in here and then I would just fail at it. Like, I would just have the crappiest call. I would not say the right thing because I knew what I wanted to do, but I never took the time to stop and create these and actually have a plan to call those people that day. And I did a crappy job on it, right?
And you still did really well.
I still got people to work with me, thank God. But nobody here is perfect at this. Like, so the whole idea is just to give you another resource and tool to think of it a little bit differently. And maybe it's, if you got no showings on a Thursday afternoon, maybe it's, let's record an inventory voicemail, let's record a rates voicemail, let's record a seller voicemail, and tag it in Mojo, seller voicemail, and put your initials there. So it's queued up, ready to go. Right? So it's like, it's like creating a recipe. Right? You got your OFQ, you sprinkle that, you got that dough, and then you got your voicemail over here, the teaspoon of the voicemail, and you pour it all together, you mix it up, and that's your day of calls. And I bet you what's going to happen is you're going to have more people engage with you because you're in tune to their needs as opposed to just a random sales call. Because when I did random sales calls, I was not effective.
Yeah, the idea here is to like shoot to educate, right? You're giving them something, but you don't want to give them too much because you want to actually talk to them on the phone and have a conversation with them. Like it's instead of just the normal stuff that goes on. I mean, Jamie's doing a great job. I know other people are doing this too with circle dialing about like property specific stuff. Like those are easy because you kind of know what to say. It's with these other leads that we're working. It's like, what do I freaking say to these people now? You're working someone 3 years, Sarah. What do you say to them? I mean, it's like, You guys ready yet? Like, what's going on? I mean, that's kind of how we feel, right? So this is meant to just deliver. It's a little nugget here that shows you care about them and you care about their real estate performance, their real estate goals. So that's kind of the intent by these. And when I was in production, I had like 7 or 8 different voicemails I'd leave for expireds, all pretty similar to this. It was all market specific. So, and again, we're going to have all this stuff ready. That's why we're recording this. We'll share the slide deck. These voicemails are shared in a Google Drive, so everyone on the team has access to them. All you got to do is click on this button on the slide deck. So if you think that was recording a voicemail stuff, getting those up here was way tougher. So I'm glad it worked. So we got the voicemails, right? Physical environment. I am really big on this. Close all your tabs on your computer, right? If you got more than 4 tabs open, you got too many. Literally, all that should be up is MLS, Boomtown, Dialer, Calendar. Nothing else. I did a whole presentation on this. Those 4 tabs, and I would stand up, right? I know some people say I don't like standing up. I don't sound better when I stand up. I'm calling nonsense because I know everyone here, when you meet, you don't see speakers when they come in, like, anyone know who Tony Robbins is? You don't see him sitting down in an easy chair while he's making calls and presenting Unleash the Power Within that goes till 2 a.m. in the morning, right? That guy's one of the best speakers on the planet. So stand up. We got the desks. Like, it's there for a reason. Like, if you feel like you need to do it at home, stand up at home. I know Ed tells me he loves like walking around and talking, and I've been on calls with him when I see him sitting down, he's petting his dog, and then he's walking around, and the engagement level is different. So stand up for sure. I put the script up in
voicemail.
Go ahead.
I actually made a
Go for it,
voicemail
Ed.
yesterday. It took me like 10 takes sitting down because I didn't feel like standing. The moment I started walking, I got it done in 1 take. I was like, all right, I can start my calls now.
So, and then with these scripts, and like if you're using a specific OFQ, write the thing down and put it in front of you. Maybe you're not that familiar with it yet. It's just going to help you. It's a roadmap to get there. So keeping all your scripts up and visual. And I'm a big fan, and Brian and I were just talking about this. If you're working from home, whatever you're doing, I'd still be like getting dressed like you're ready to do business, because I think that there's something to that. You don't see the Super Bowl this weekend. They didn't come out in their practice gear. They came out in their uniform, right? They had the special patches on, the whole thing. When we were, Paul, we were in the pandemic, right? Yep. You and I were wearing like button-down shirts every day, working from home until I ran out because the dry cleaner wasn't open, making calls. And we came out, and I mean, we were doing that every single day. So there's, even if you're going to be working from home, what I'd be doing is I'd be making sure that you have that environment going. I don't care where it is, but there's something to that. And if you get someone that wants to go look at a home in 20 minutes and you're scrambling to get dressed and you're still in your pajamas, that might slow you down. So there's something to that. Like, I don't work wherever you want to work. I'm a big believer in, you know, dressing the part. So you got anything you want to add here? I know you were pretty.
Yeah, no, I can't. I have to come into the office. I have to, it's part of my routine. It's what I do. I'm not saying you guys have to be in here every day, but a couple times a week, I could be helpful to you to keep yourselves motivated and focused. But I remember when I circled down, I got my first listing back in February. I didn't have one of those stands, but I was at my dining room table with a trash can with my computer. I was standing up, and I was like walking around my dining room, like, it's the next one, it's the next one, come on, pick up, and sure enough, I got one. And it was fun. It made it enjoyable, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I had a milk crate at my house for a while because I didn't have a stand-up desk at home. I mean, it was the same thing. So all this stuff's going to work, and we're breaking it down this simple because the way you do things physically is a lot. It's going to affect the way you hear on the phone. Like, body language is 55% of what people hear, right? The words you say mean very little. It's the tonality and the body language. So I cannot stress that enough.
If you go back to what you played earlier, take the time to do the little things. Open the door for somebody. Do this. Somebody will recognize your effort. The person on the other side is going to recognize your effort, and then they'll want to do something for you by picking up the phone next call. I guarantee it.
For sure.
Different philosophy of life.
So we got the dialer, we got the voicemails, we got the call prep, we got the OFQs, we got the physical environment. What happens if you talk to somebody, right? You have a good conversation. Maybe, ideally, you set an appointment. If you don't, I'm clear there's 3 steps you want to take. If you have a good conversation, you feel like you're going to be able to do some business with them, I'd send them a video email with your resume and the reviews you have for the team. Val can collect all this stuff for you. If you don't have reviews, send them team reviews, right? But we can get your reviews and make it all about Andres or Jamie or whoever else. And it'll be, she can put on a nice graphic. It can be a PDF or a link. That's going to go a long way. I'm going to show you what the video email looks like in a second. What you guys don't know about Stacy is she was a for sale by owner before I met her. right? Sent her a video email. Got the listing on the spot with her and her husband when they were trying to sell it themselves. What was that like for you on the consumer side?
That's part of the whole experience.
No, like you see this video pop up from some guy that just called you on the phone.
Yeah.
What did you think?
That's cool. Nobody else is doing
Right.
it. Like,
Are you an easy sell? Do you classify yourself an easy sell?
not too easy though.
So I mean, it sets the tone, right? And how many phone calls did you get as a for sale by owner?
There was quite a few.
Did you meet with any other realtors? I never asked you this.
No.
Right. So
No, because you guys came out right away. I mean, there was no reason to. And the way that you presented was just
there's something interesting to that.
professional.
Statistically, if you set the appointment within 72 hours, it's more likely to happen. Like setting an appointment 2 weeks out, unless there's a reason, the sooner you, I'm seeing some yeses. Have you guys kind of seen that? Like the sooner you set it, the quicker it goes. So I beat out all those people calling her. For sale by owners get outnumbered. So the point is, sending that can work pre-appointment or even if you just have a good conversation with somebody. Big four follow-up, we've gone over this. Make sure you're logging the communication, changing the status, setting the follow-up, make sure they're on a property drip. Those things work so well with people, and it tells you what they're doing. Whoops. I'm forgetting there's two computers here. And then handwritten notes are also really good. I know, like, Sarah, you and Josh do a lot of, like, handwritten notes and that sort of stuff. I mean, you've taken some listings. Like, that's been pretty effective for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I need to, like, up the amount of handwritten notes that I do, but, yeah, I feel like they're effective.
And think about it. You're doing the little, like, who gets a handwritten note anymore? Nobody, right? Who gets a video from somebody? Besides, unless you're working here and I send you videos, right? It's so the little things like Brian's saying, it's going to go more in winning clients. It shows you care about it. It shows you really give a shit. So this stuff I think is easy. I think that I'm going to show you the video here in a second, but where I found I think people get a little jammed up is what if I don't talk to them? Then what do I do? And I'm going to break down a lot of content around that, and then we'll be out of here right on time. So here's the post-conversation email copy. So this is something you can duplicate, set as a template in Boomtown. You only need to do this once. You get your resume and reviews from Val. It'll be right there. I'm going to click on this link in a second. That's the video. Dear visitor first name. You know why it's said like that? Because that'll auto-populate their name, and you don't have to ever worry about typing it in. So you're not going to send Brian an email that says, Dear James, great talking to you on the phone, because I've done that before because I'm an idiot and I didn't put the smart stuff in. It's going to help you make this scalable, right? Thanks so much for taking my call today. I'd love the opportunity to meet with you to review your real estate goals in more detail and show you how I can help you achieve them. Most people find an appointment to strategize extremely helpful, right? So most people, that's from who? Phil Jones saying, hey, this is a normal thing. Since you're likely talking with other agents, I wanted to provide written proof of the results we deliver. The links below include my resume and numerous reviews from past clients. In 2022, our team sold 500 homes. My cell is blank. Otherwise, I'll be in touch. Then you cut the follow-up in half. At the bottom here, in Boomtown, there will be links with the resume and reviews, because if you attach the file, it's too big. Anyone get an attachment they can't receive for? And like, oh, I sent you the email. It's going to link it. Here's the video. So guys on Zoom, you're going to hear it. I don't think it's going to come through from the picture side because you got the slide deck up, but here it is. Once this thing freaking loads. Yeah, I know. We got a lot of. It's already linked. There we go. So the video, this is how people are going to see this, by the way. So it'll come through like this. You get it, you know, if you look like me and you can do this, anybody can. So remember that.
Hey, Steve, it's Tom Toole here with Remax Mainline. Thanks so much for taking my call this evening about your property at 123 Banana Street. Totally get that you're in a little bit of a holding pattern right now until you get your job search figured out, and it could call for a relocation to Chester County or keep you where you are in Delaware County. That makes a ton of sense, and obviously that's got to happen first before we can do anything real estate related. In the meantime, I've included a copy of my resume below to give you a better idea of the results that my team and I deliver. If you need anything, have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I've included my cell phone number below, and I will make sure to follow up as planned. Have a great evening, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
So it's personalized. mention, like this is someone I'm trying to list their house, right? So you mentioned like, hey, I hear about the job reload or whatever else. It's going to go a long way. It took me 45 seconds to film that. Now, some of you guys are going to say, well, it's going to take me 3 hours because I have to do 20 takes. I get it, right? The more you practice, the better you're going to be. And that thumbnail will go in to here. So see where that says still photo? It's actually going to be a thumbnail there they can click on. So it's going to look a lot better than this. This was just for the presentation. You've seen these bomb emails come through before. That's something you can literally save as a template and call it Steve Karp post conversation email, right? Or Steve Karp introduction, and just record the videos and send it, right? It's going to be really scalable. Doesn't take that long. So that's the post conversation email. Any questions about this? Pretty easy. So then we got what happens after the follow-ups. Let me switch here. So again, you want to kind of shoot to educate and deliver value. People are sick of lazy follow-up, and what kind of information is going to elicit a response? So let's say you send that's if you talk to them. This is if you don't talk to them. So we put together a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to show you all the videos here, but I went through and did each one. So I know Steve just walked out. He just did this and sent the same video to his clients. So who here has heard that the market's going to crash just like 2008 before? Anybody? Nobody? Everybody. All right. So the subject for the email is, hey, the 2023 real estate market is nothing like 2008. Zara, we did some email copy for you. The emojis and the ellipsis really elicit a response. So you want to put that stuff in. That you got a lot of responses from that email we did. There's also a video you put in there. So again, guys on Zoom, I got the video linked up, and then I'm going to show you the email copy. I only did email copy for one of these because there's like 7 different slides, but we have this all in the how-to. You can do this yourself. And again, this is a templated email. A lot of people are worried that the current real estate climate in 2023 is very similar to what happened in 2008. And what I wanted to share with you is that a lot of that's based on misinformation and clickbait headlines. So I've included some data below that compares what happened in 2008 to what's going on right now in 2023. Subprime loans don't even exist in 2023. We're seeing really strong employment. And on top of all that, we're seeing drastically different inventory levels. All of those, plus the other comparisons below, tell me that the housing market is strong, that it's a safe investment. And I get why people are nervous, because this is a really big investment. So if you've been thinking about making a move and you're not sure what really is going on and you just need some more information, I'm here to be your resource. And I can provide more data like this to help you make a really well-informed decision. So if you want to schedule a call, jump into a conversation, or just talk a little bit and ask some questions, I'm here to be your resource. Right? So what do you got?
I'm not sure if this is a question everyone knows. I don't ever used it before, but can you link this to social media accounts as well? Like, I make that
you can post that video anywhere. So I know you guys just got added on to like stuff like that, but you can get a link that you can post, and it'll give you a thumbnail people can watch. You can also record the video on your phone and then upload it into BombBomb. So you might want to post the native upload on social as like a reel, and then use it as a BombBomb video. I know Joe did that with like some green screen stuff he did, which was pretty effective. So the answer is yes, and we can. I can help you a little separately from that, but the point of this is, imagine you don't talk to like 50 people you're like nurturing, and all of a sudden, you send them that. And then it shows you're like, it's more value-based follow-up than like, hey, I'm following up like I said I would. So that's really the idea. I got 7 other, I'm not going to show you all the videos. I got 7 other of these we can look at, and then we're going to kind of just figure out where to get all the information. So any questions about any of this stuff so far? And you can template all these too. You only have to film the video once. Did you notice I didn't say like anyone's name there or anything? Like, it's a one-off email you can keep sending out when you don't talk to somebody. So the second one, so everyone thinks the home prices are going to crash, right? So here's the chart. Well, no one really knows. There's a 10% spread there if you look at the delta. And the video along with that is, hey, we've seen some people think prices are going to go down 5%. Others think they're going to go up 5%. And if you remember at the beginning of last year, Zillow said prices were going to be up 17%, and that was way off base. So nobody really knows. So if you want to understand what's happening locally, let's break down some numbers. And I've got the video samples up here. I just think in the interest of time, we're not going to watch all these videos of me. It's kind of the idea. You can use this for foreclosures, right? Like, so foreclosures, everyone, who's here heard, like, there's more foreclosures coming to the market?
All the time.
All the time? That's not true, right? But you're giving them data and value-based follow-up instead of telling them they're wrong, right? This one I find very interesting. Brian, I know you like this when we were prepping. So who here's had sellers say they're worried about like no buyer demand or that kind of thing, right? So if rates are between 6 and 6.5%, you're in the good buyer demand category, which means it's a little better for buyers and it's still great for sellers. And this kind of verbal, and it shows how rates have danced around a little bit. So the subject on this, it's still a seller's market for now, because I think sellers need to maybe be careful about waiting too long if they got somewhere to go. And then there's a video explaining it, right? We can help you guys with the copy. I got some copy I'll share here with you. The next one we put together was, anyone ever get a buyer say they thought they had to put 20% down? Right? I don't know where they get that information from. They're misinformed. Infographic around that. You don't need a huge down payment to buy a home. And also how home ownership builds wealth over time, right? We've got access to all this stuff here. So the point is, you can template these. And like Brian said, you spend 15, 20 minutes doing this. You got all kinds of value-based follow-up you can use over and over and over again and work a lot smarter to activate people. But we've never broken it down like this before. So this is on us. Last one we got, lending standards are under control. Everyone's worried, oh, it's going to be like 2008. It's kind of the same thing, different chart. So actually, lending standards are tougher than ever, even coming right off the 2008 crash, meaning there's no shot of a 2008 repeat. So all this stuff, like this is all value, and I got videos for every single one of these that you guys can just rip off and duplicate. Don't worry about what to say. I already shared that with you. Just put your face on there, because you send them a video with me, they're gonna be, who the hell is this guy or gal, right? That's all it is. But this is meant to be like really simple. Any questions about like this kind of like email or follow-up or anything?
Is this on TTSG research?
It's going to be, yeah. I wanted to share the presentation first. We'll share the slide deck, and all the links are clickable in the slide deck, that green link. So we'll give everyone access as soon as we're done, and you can look at it that way. And we've got the recording here too. Here's the email copy. You guys know how I came up with this email copy? I used ChatGPT and made him revise it 15 different times last night. So this went from this long thing about why 2008 is not like 2023 into 2 quick paragraphs people can read. So, hey, I understand the housing market can be uncertain and daunting for many people. The good news, Phil Jones, is that the current state of the market is very different from back in 2008. Today, we're seeing a strong recovery with high demand and rising prices. If you're considering buying or selling a property, I'm here to guide you and help you make informed decisions. Take a moment to view our video and the infographic. So same thing we just did. If you want to know more about the current climate and how it applies to your specific situation, let's schedule a call to discuss the particulars. We're here to help you make the most out of the current market. Your name, right? This is template. You can template this. Like, you don't need to rethink all this stuff. And you send that out with, all you got to do is record the video and literally just have it like templated and right there. This is thoughtful follow-up. It's not lazy follow-up anymore. So you don't get somebody, you're sending these kind of emails out. Email marketing is not dead. It's just usually it's pretty crappy written stuff that gets sent out. So we've got that all laid out for you here. Video CMAs. Do we need to, Jamie sent me a video. I did one. Do you guys need to see this again? I know some of the new people maybe haven't seen it, but we've gone over this at length. So you're getting some really good reactions from this though, Jamie, right? You want to kind of share this? Because that was more why I wanted to hit on it, because this is also value-based for sellers. You had like 1.5 million seller activate or something?
I'm like,
1.5 million.
I just had a listing meeting from my CMAs last week, but it takes, so I did 3 yesterday and it took a little over an hour. It's like a 3-step process that I do. And the fact that you're on video and you're actually I do a screen share and I walk them through the comps in the area from the MLS. They don't have access to that. They can't see the inside of these homes, so they love it. And when I call and follow up, I've actually had people reach out to me and say, that was amazing. Our bathrooms need to be updated, so I'm thinking maybe we can't get that much, but I've started a lot of good conversations and people say, we're gonna hold your information, we're not ready just yet, that kind of thing. And then I got one woman who said, nobody's ever sent something like this, come to my house next week, I want to sell. So.
Great, good job.
Yeah, so like you got to weed through some crap. And Steve, you've had a good response with these. He's doing the hand delivered one, which I'll show in a second. The point is, it's thoughtful follow up, right? Like and especially with sellers, like it's such a long game. You know, it'd be great if the stuff worked right off the bat. It's just not how it goes. So again, this is all on the training site. So here's the cover letter that Val put together. Steve, you have this. You just pop in like the information on these things and give them like a range, right? It's been pretty scalable for you.
Yeah, I think you want to do a range because I feel like it can, like obviously it could be good, but it can also be bad. Because you like give them a number and then they're like, Steve doesn't know what he's talking about. My house is worth 50 grand more. So that's why I give them a range. Just plus you don't know what their house looks like.
You don't know, yeah.
You on that. But you're still giving, like, I do it just like, you know, like I'm doing a listing presentation. So it's pretty in depth. Like it gives them all like the most recent comps. So.
It's a great, most agents, and I think there's a fine line here between not enough and too much information. I think this is just enough to get them excited. Like Jamie, you said, and Steve, you don't want to give them like the whole thing where it's like, all right, based on this, your home's going to sell for X, Y, Z. But most agents don't give anything. They're like, I'm not giving you the comps until you invite me over. Well, imagine if you called a doctor and you're like, I'm not going to tell you what's going on with you. You got to come in and see me first, right? And you're like stressed out about your health. It's kind of, it's like a weird dynamic. So I think this is a good middle ground here. We've gone over that at length. So the last thing I wanted to share, and we're going to be right on time here, which is good. A lot of people get stressed out where to find the market data, right? Does anyone like feel stressed about this? Like, I don't know enough about the market, or it kind of like makes them a little anxious? Yes, no? All right. So, it's all more, right? You need to know like three things. What's going on with prices, interest rates, and inventory. If you could communicate that, you're way ahead of 95% of real estate agents in the entire country. So I want to show a couple of places to look up data here. The first is the Tri-County Board. So this one's pretty easy. Again, we'll, I don't think oh, bless you, little guy. So if you go to the Tri-County Suburban Realtors website, they have a up-to-the-date monthly report. Let me show this here.
They just sent that this morning too.
Yeah, it gets emailed too. It updates usually like around the middle of the month. It is kind of the idea. So let's say we want to go to Chester County, just to pick the first one here. And then you can actually go through and pick all the different municipalities and stuff. If you take it one step further on the click, it will, I'm jumping around like a maniac here. It'll give you like, hey, let me scroll down one page. So really simple, right? So it just tells you, hey, here's how many new listings came to the market. Here's how many pendings there were last month. Here's how many closed sales. Here's how many active listings at the end of the month, average days on market. So when you get a buyer that's saying, I'm going to lowball this by 10%. Well, hey, right now properties are selling at 99.3%. I don't know if that's going to give us a good opportunity. Sorry, you got somebody like this, right? When you share those stats, it's a lot different than saying, hey, your offer's too low. Like, it's thoughtful, data-driven follow-up. The one question I get a lot is how to calculate inventory. So everyone know how to do that? Simple. You take the number of active listings, just take it from the end of January. You don't need it up to the minute. Divide it by the number of pending sales. You're going to get 1.33 here, I think is the number. That means there's a 1 1/3 month supply. So it takes 40 days for everything to sell, roughly. It's a simple equation, but a lot of people don't know how I come up with that, so I thought we'd share it here. Really, really simple. So that's a great place to get all the data, is just going to Tri-County. Now, the flip side of that is it'll give us prices, inventory levels, and that's how you calculate it. There's other places to get this too. So I put out a video once a month about what's going on in the market. It's on YouTube. I'm not going to make you guys watch it. We can start sending it out in that market data channel, just so everyone reminds them. It literally breaks down everything. And you can even send that if you want, or better yet, you can do your own and send it to your clients, right? And you can book time with Nick. You can do it yourself, whatever. That's another great follow-up opportunity. You could literally just practice the same freaking. I look down at paper when I do that, by the way. I don't have this stuff memorized. Like, you're not going to memorize it all. So that's really easy to do. So that gets sent out to our entire database. You could even say, hey, did you see the video we sent out last week? Because you guys will know when it gets sent. It gets sent out to all 56,000 people in the database every single month. On top of that, Val sends out some social media stuff once a month. So it's all there. So it tells you how many average days on market per county. We've got everything covered here. Chester, Delaware, Montgomery, Philly, Bucks, Berks. Average days on market, number of homes listed, median sale price. Right? Simple. And I love that you guys are like posting and sharing that. I think this is even a great thing to like text people. Like you got someone looking at like, and we're going to show some examples of how to use this stuff in conversion. But this gets posted in the social content channel every month. So it's there. All right, just got to keep an eye on it. On top of that, this is something that Brian did. And I know we went on that like interest rate sort of thing. So Mortgage America is now posting daily rate sheets in the general channel. I had them do that for a reason. So that way we can just send it to people. This was something Brian sent out when we saw rates come down. It was basically, hey, rates are looking good right now. Everything's trending in the right direction. I'm going to email you an updated market overview of the value of your home. Keep an eye out. I'll text you when I send it. Sounds great, right? Like that's a re-engagement.
Then I sent them a video.
Yeah, same thing. Like all these pieces, like that re-engagement goes a long way. The last thing is the MLS has a lot of really specific stuff. So if you go under market in the MLS, the housing demand index, you can look at that. I'm not a big fan of that report. I think it's an artificial number tied to demand. We know demand's high right now. I don't think it does a lot for consumers. Market statistics, right? Great report. Jamie, you were looking at this over the weekend. If you want to dial in on like a township or a borough or a zip code, you can do that. Industry Watch does zip codes by quarter. So Steve, I know we used that for your Havertown play. Like it was like, hey, here's what happened in Havertown through the third quarter and breaks it down by zip. So these two especially, Industry Watch, market stats, and market performance and residential activity, mess around with this a little bit. You're going to get way more data here than you think. All you got to do is know what's going on. But to Brian's point, rates, prices, inventory, that's all you really need to know. If you need something more specific, go here because I can break it down. We got a lot of data at our fingertips here. And I think a lot of people just get lost where to look for it. We got a bunch of follow-up texts. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Same kind of thing. You guys can template these. So where to start? And we are done here right on time. I know this has been a long training. Thanks for hanging with us. We just had a lot to cover. And we thought we'd be going to a parade later in the week, so that might have had something to do. We tried to jam pack it in. So where to start? We've got a checklist we're going to share with everybody to kind of prep your day. I think that just helps a lot of people. First things first, new leads, you got to call them fast. A lot of our leads get sent to other agents, especially realtor.com leads. So if we don't call them right away, they might already have a showing booked. I'd be calling, texting, and emailing every single lead when it comes in. And you call them, you leave a message. That's an easy message. Hey, I saw you inquired about Banana Street. When do you want to go see it? Give me a call back. Text them. Just try calling. I know you might not be able to talk. When's a good time to go see the property? Email, same thing. After you call your new leads, that's kind of like as they come in, I'd start my day with the hottest people that are closest to an appointment first. I've had folks, I've seen this, and my cousin Ryan did this too. He had a guy basically said, call me to set up an appointment. He waited until the end of the day to call him, and he said, I don't think I'm a priority for you. I called somebody else, right? If you got someone ready for an appointment, like get me in front of that person. Like I don't think we want to get that confused. Then any follow-ups you have scheduled, everyone should have a follow-up with Big Four, 5 people in your sphere a day, and any high activity leads that are on longer term follow-ups, because sometimes people change their time frame on you. And there's easy ways to get to all this stuff. So you guys know where to look in your Boomtown Vitals? I'd be going to this Vitals page every single morning. So this particular person, new leads, better call them. They had 22 high activity leads. Like that, those for people with intent. So I'd be jumping on that right away. This is about e-alerts and drifts, seeing how your CRM's doing. And then here's your past due to-dos. And if you click on those numbers, it'll take you right to those people in Boomtown, and you can create call sheets with them. So it makes it super easy. So you don't even have to think about this. Anyone utilizing this at a pretty high level now?
I love that.
So what are you doing, Stace? I mean, you're on this
I
stuff.
always go to the high activity lead.
Tell us more.
Well, because that's where it tells you directly what they're doing and in what hour, by the minute, by the hour, you know, they're or currently on the site. And that way, even if you'll see if they're trash, archives, whatever category they are, they're the ones that have been on the site looking. So they're the ones I go to that first. And I always make sure that my e-alerts and my drips are over 90%. So if, for some reason I got busy and I didn't set up e-alerts for somebody, I'll click on my e-alert tab and just make sure, and I'll go through there and make sure that everybody that needs to be on an e-alert are on an e-alert. And just make sure the drips are on too. Yeah.
It's a great, if you're overwhelmed where to start, this stuff will get you up to speed, but these are the people that need the attention first, right? Like the goal is not to, I don't care if your CRM's at 100 or 95, that doesn't matter. It's, are we setting appointments and selling houses, right? Like that's the intention here. And we're trying to really break this down step by step. So great stuff, Stace. Proper lead care, we've gone over that before. Here's the checklist. And then we're out of here. So we're gonna make this available to everybody. I thought this is, Brian, this is kind of your idea of like, just to give yourself like a way to get organized until you're getting in the habit. So what time block are you utilizing? Like when are you making the calls, right? Who are you gonna call? How many calls are you gonna make? What script are you using? What OFQ? What voicemail is it recorded? Like it's gonna take you through these steps so you don't get in there trying to do the stuff and then you're like, oh shit, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. And it has it all laid out for you. So this is going to be like a workflow sheet. I think it'll help because it does get overwhelming. I'm very cognizant of this. And it's easy for me to say, oh, I got it down. It's easy. It's not, right? There's a lot of moving parts here. And we're also trying to sell houses at the same time. I just want to help you sell more of them. That's the whole reason we like this. I know this was freaking in depth. Any questions? This is it. We're done. I can tell everyone's spent here. So Zara's texting memes back there or something. She's been on her phone the whole time. So you laughed at me like 20 times, and what am I supposed to do?
So the only last thing I want to say is to tie back into the tracking, because I'm a tracking nut. Okay, so anything that you choose to implement, does it have results or not? If it doesn't have any results, stop doing it and do something different. If you're not getting results and somebody just said, like Sarah, you said, I think I need to do more handwritten notes. Like they're effective, but not as effective as I thought. So I'm going to increase the number. It was 50 a month, I'm going to bump it up to 100. The only way you're going to know that is by tracking your data and if you're moving the needle. So can I get everybody in this room to stand up and commit that you're going to use Sisu as you walk out the door today?
I'll do it.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I need a commitment from everybody.
All right.
We can't run this company without you guys participating. You have to do it. See, even your son stood up. He's like, I'm all in for that.
You guys standing up on Zoom here?
Okay, so this is a commitment to get you, train your brain to put your showings in there, your listing appointments, and everything that's there. We will commit to you by pushing that data back to you so that you have a reasonable report to read about your business to improve it. Right? We're committed to doing it every 2 weeks.
Yep, it's going to come out same time as Zillow reports. We'll have one email that just goes out with all the reports. No one needs more emails here.
Nope.
So
It's going to be a push report right back to you, and it'll help you run your business. We'll both be able to see if you need anything. If anybody needs help implementing what we just talked about, you just need to let Tom and I know, and we can do very specific training for you to get you into the routine to do it. It's very hard to listen to all this information, then all of a sudden go out and implement it, because the key is in the implementation.
yeah,
So if you're struggling with something, you gotta just ask and let us help you get through it. After we do it 1 or 2 times, it's a piece of cake. So we have a full commitment of Sisu tracking from everybody that sees it. I love it. Thank you.
cool. So look, this is a long training. We never do them this long. We pivoted this week. This is recorded. It's in depth. If there's something you missed, something you want to go over, like Brian said, we're here to help. Like I'm here every day. He's here too. I mean, we're here to help support you. That's really all this comes down to. And we've realized we failed in going this in depth. So it's probably more in depth than you guys might have realized. But that way we know exactly what's going on. So we're just here to support you, because your success is our success. This is a two-way street. That's all I got, guys and gals. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks everyone coming. Great training. Got some claps here on Zoom.